While U.S. policies continue to put pressure on African nations, many African Americans are making a different choice. Ditching the American dream, they are returning to Africa to reconnect with their roots, reclaim their heritage, and rediscover their identity.
For decades, Africans and African Americans have shared a history, although they live worlds apart. One continent, one heritage, and a widening gap. But now, some unexpected is happening. Thousands of African Americans are leaving the United States, running away from the so-called the American dream and moving to Africa. They're moving to Africa for good, to settle and start over. But why? Why would anyone trade America for Africa, a continent often labeled as a poor and unstable continent? Why are African Americans flocking to Africa? Stay with me, Amoka K, as I take you through the entire journey. (2019) was a historic year for African Americans. It marked 400 years since the first African slaves were taken from the motherland Africa through the transatlantic slave trade, which was the largest forced human migration in history. The numbers were approximately 12.5 million Africans. Among these, only 10.7 million survived the sea journey. Upon arrival in America and Europe, they were forced to labor in plantations of sugar, tobacco, and cotton. The Africans fueled the industrial economies through pain, suffering, and humanization. Many years later, the trade was abolished. That is the slave trade. African descendants were then granted American citizenship and a place in society, a place to call home. Then they merged racism. Racism is the main reason why African Americans were leaving the United States and going back to Africa. But why now? Though slavery was abolished very many years ago, but the gap between the blacks and whites remained stuck. One, why did the gap remain stuck? One, Black Americans feel like second-class citizens in the Trump regime. Two, most African Americans have never returned to their ancestral homeland. They want to feel back at home. They want to feel accepted. In 2019, Ghana started a campaign called the Year of Return Initiative.
Ghana has declared 2019 as the Year of Return in a campaign targeting African Americans and diaspora to visit the West African nation.
This initiative is intended to give African Americans a chance to interact with home. Their response turned out to be massive, as thousands traveled to Ghana not to visit but to stay. In 2020, the Black Lives Matter movement played a role in igniting the spirit to run away from unfair treatment. Most Black Americans now wanted to go back home, to go back to Africa. Today, over 5,000 plus Africans have visited Ghana and stayed there. In 2024, Ghana issued about 524 citizenship documentations to African Americans. Other African nations like Burkina Faso and Kenya have also opened doors. Why are they coming back now? Why are they coming back now? Yes, why are they coming back now? The reason is, one, they are not feeling safe anymore. Racism is scaring them all. If the police arrest a Black American, the results are catastrophic. Broken ribs, bruises, broken noses, and worst of all, death. Hence trauma and fear that haunts them like a shadow. Remember the 1921 race massacre, which displaced most families. Again, after the transatlantic trade. That's the transatlantic slave trade. George Floyd's murder, I believe you remember it, which happened in 2020. It ignited the global fire against racism, the global cry for justice. This shook the world. This shook the world. Professionals like Sanjay had to pack and leave. As you see her here, she had to pack and leave America. They are not escaping from America. They are returning home to feel safe, to feel accepted. The Black Lives Matter movement. Black Americans are leaving the US and coming to Africa, Kenya to be precise. American authorities did not see this coming. The Black Americans moving to Kenya say they want to reconnect with Africa, their motherland. They want to feel safe and build a new life. Some have sold everything in America, bought a one-way ticket to Kenya, a sign that they're not going back. They have settled and are now running businesses like the Airbnbs. They claim life in the US is full of stress, racism, high cost of living, and no peace. In Kenya, housing, food, and communities feel more welcoming, affordable, and warm. Do we then call this reverse migration? Many are returning with money, skills, and hope that could lift African communities since they are opening businesses. They are investing here. The West is watching in confusion and disbelief. People feel like enough is enough. A Kenyan who self-deported himself from US speaks of peace of mind. He resigned, left his wife and 3 children to rebuild in Kenya. NTV, a leading TV station in Kenya, reports. Researchers say that the growing presence of Americans moving to Kenya is already reshaping local economies, introducing new businesses, and unlocking cross-continental value chains. This signals growing confidence in Africa as a land of opportunities.
I'm leaving America and moving to Kenya. As you all may know, I've started this process 6 months ago to sell my house. The day finally came. We sold everything in the house to one buyer and got all of the furniture out. This process has been long and drawn out of relocating, not gonna lie. Here I am cleaning up the home, preparing it for the new buyers. And I must say that leaving my home was very emotional. I cried like a baby. I've been in the house for 10 years, but we made it to closing, and now the process begins of me relocating to Kenya.
See how I packed my bags and leave the country instead of killing someone? Very mindful, very demure. I'm not like you other girls